Hello, this is William with Rome Well Adventures. I'm excited to start a new series of talks titled Be Happy. And think about the word happiness, the idea of happiness. What is it really? We use words all the time that have these fuzzy meanings. Words like love or power or freedom. If you ask 100 different people about what these words mean, you're going to get almost 100 different answers. So if we're going to spend the next few weeks talking about happiness, let's start with a clarifying concept for happiness. Happiness is more like the discoveries we make on a journey than arriving at our intended destination. Happiness is not some place we arrive or something we achieve. It's more like a direction we take in life that promotes well-being and gives us a positive future outlook. And so many people struggle with experiencing happiness because they're too focused on trying to eliminate all the negative or uncomfortable or disappointing things in life. And I think we make this mistake for a couple of reasons. One, we do this because somewhere along the way we bought into this idea that happy and unhappy can't exist in the same space, or they can't exist at the same time. But this just isn't true. We often as humans feel mixed emotions. For example, you can be happy about starting a new job or going on a first date and still be sad about leaving old friends or nervous about meeting a new person. I think the second reason we struggle with being happy and why we think happiness means we have to eliminate all the bad or uncomfortable or depressing or disappointing things in our life. I think it happens because we fail so many times to assume responsibility for our own happiness. Think about this. If you're always focused on external circumstances or what other people are doing or not doing, then your happiness is always going to be tied to things you really can't control. We can't always control what happens in our world, and we definitely cannot control or change other people. But if we accept the idea that happiness is a state of being that we create and manage, then effectively circumstances and other people only play a secondary, not a primary role in our happiness. In other words, circumstances and people can make life better and sometimes more difficult. But when we accept that happiness is possible despite the presence of challenging circumstances or difficult people, we've just gained tremendous insight into what is required to create and manage our own happiness. Let me give you a simple way to understand what I've been talking about. Why do people consistently over a long period of time work out and stay committed to their physical health? I mean, people will start for lots of reasons. People will start walking or working out or eating healthy to lose weight, to get ready for a cruise, because of a health scare, or because their clothes no longer fit and they don't have the budget to go out and buy new clothes. Or maybe some people start going to the gym because they really want 20-inch biceps. And when you walk into a gym, there are basically two groups of people in there. And the interesting thing is you can't tell them apart necessarily by how they look. So let's say group A represents people who want to achieve some fitness or health related goal, and group B represent those people who have embraced a healthy journey. When group A hits their target, or if the work required to hit the target becomes too much, most of this group will more than likely lose their motivation and quit. On the other hand, group B, the group that has embraced a healthy lifestyle or a healthy journey, this group has done so because it reflects who they want to be and how they want to be able to experience life. And this group may miss more days in the gym, and sometimes you might catch this group eating ice cream or eating more than they should. And here's the thing, they may not be perfect in their fitness journey, but they will be consistent over a long period of time because they're committed to the process. And see, the same thing is true for happiness. Nobody wakes up every day happy. Things will happen that break your heart. There will be difficult days and seasons in your life. But remember, happiness is more about the discoveries we make in the journey than it is the things we achieve or avoid in life. And it's our commitment to managing this kind of rhythm that leads to consistent happiness over time. So how do we maintain, or for some, start being better at living with this type of rhythm in our lives? We have to learn how to be better at holding and processing our emotions. For example, anger is a very helpful emotion. I know some of you have spent your whole life hearing people say, don't be angry, or I have an anger problem, or anger is bad, but it's not. It's just an emotion. And basically, we get angry for one of two reasons. We get angry because we're not getting what we want, or we get angry because we don't like what is happening or not happening in our lives. So the next time you're angry, hold that emotion long enough to figure out what you want or figure out what's not happening in your life. Hold it long enough to figure out what you need to stop or start that can lead to more happiness. So I have a challenge for you this week. At the end of every day, I want you to write down the interactions with people or the specific circumstances that work to increase your happiness or unhappiness. Then in the next episode, we'll talk about what to do with this information. So to be clear, all I want you to do this week is spend a few minutes at the end of the day reflecting on the people and the circumstances that played a role in your happiness or unhappiness. And next week, we're going to talk about what to do with this information. So if you benefited from today's talk, please help us out by hitting the like button, sharing our page. Be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with new content. Also, if you have questions or would like to share some thoughts about today's topic, please leave a comment. Until next week, let's work on being happy.